Hi.
Hi. So congratulations on your new series.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to the internet, as in social media, you're really in the spotlight. Everybody's discussing costume and what, us non-filmy types will say the look.
The look.
Which primarily is costume and art design.
Yeah.
So, but I know it's not your first, so it's really not your debut. It's just that you've come out of the shadows thanks to social media, which
Pretty
I know you've been inactive and suddenly you've woken up on Instagram. So that's great.
Yeah, so I just feel basically I've been around for about 10 years, and I think everybody needs a show like Jubilee to come out of that shadow. It's very important because on a period series where costume art is so important, because again, it's part of a look, and you get to do things a certain way, you have resources to do things a certain way. It just helps so much. Like, everything is in place, and I can't be more happy that it's visible, like people can see it.
You've done films before. So when you're doing, just if you can just tell our viewers and readers and listeners on a bit of your body of work for film, and I know then it'll just click, she's the one. I know it.
Okay, great. So I started off with Masaan.
There we go.
Then I went on to do some films like with Vikram sir itself. I did Trap, Bhavesh Joshi, Raman Raghav. I did Kedarnath. After Kedarnath, I did Raat Akeli Hai. Then I did Chandigarh Kare Aashiki, and
with Ayushmann Khurrana.
With Ayushmann Khurrana. It was just right after COVID, and the series called Betal and Ghoul, with the same director who's released Patrick Graham is his name. We just released Dancing on the Grave as well.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
I worked on Dancing on the Grave, and recently finished Patal Lok season 2. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic! That's really envious. I mean, I'm not even a costume designer, and I'm jealous.
I've just been lucky.
And a lot of hard work. Let's not.
I think it's very important that you are at the right place at the right time, and rest.
True.
You have to do the hard work. The hard work is unsaid. Like it's no matter what position you reach or how many years you spend here, and you have to just continue doing the hard work. It's about being at the right place, right time to grab that opportunity.
So
and hence I've been quite lucky.
Yeah, but do costume designers have like casting directors? Are you scouted by a talent scout or someone from the crew?
So what happens is, off lately, costume designers do also have agencies that are that people get in touch for them. But
that's new. It's a new phenomenon.
It's completely new thing. But mostly it's word of mouth. It's work to work, project to project. You met someone, you worked with someone is doing some other project, they refer you. It just like, it's word of mouth.
So it's not as streamlined or as organized as other parts of filmmaking or casting.
No, it's moreover, with me specifically, if I may say, I've just been lucky to be working with the same directors multiple times, because they have seen my work, they have seen everything. Like, I did Kedarnath with Abhishek Kapoor. I went and did Chandigarh Kare Aashiki with Abhishek Kapoor. I have done about 5 projects with Vikram sir. So it's about the building that rapport, if I would say, rapport.
And you find your comfort crew. You find your crew, your people.
Yeah. It's that comes after a lot of trial and error, but you do end up finding your people.
Did you also end up doing for Roti Kapda Makan some projects which you're not exactly very proud of?
Yeah, you do. You have to. I think it's part and parcel of the entire game. Like, you have to do few for your heart, few for work, and few for Roti Kapda Makan.
And does that, do you have regrets doing that? Because it's all out there.
Not at all, because I just feel like every project, no matter why are you doing it, teaches you so much. Like, it's a lesson.
And you put in as much work. You have to
put in. You have to, because you have recognition, an image to live up to. At least I do. And I mean, I take my work very seriously, no matter what project it is. So no regrets there. Every project has taught me something new every time. The process is fairly same, but yet
Oh, it
the
is?
lessons are new.
Yeah. So what is this process? What is this? Because we don't see or hear or read about what you're like a technical director almost. You know, you're a part of the art section. Without you and the art team, there is no look,
Correct.
there
There
is no
is no
film,
look.
right? So
The
what is the
process,
process for your part of filmmaking? Do you think
the
you're a
process,
part of filmmaking, or are you an artistic section?
I think I'm part of filmmaking. It's important. I mean, if I'm not part of filmmaking, if I don't feel part of filmmaking, I don't think so I would be able to give that much to a project
True,
or
true.
feel like I'm part of it. So it basically, it's a very straightforward process, but very technical as well. It starts from reading the script. Someone like me reads a script multiple times because I
Right.
just feel like every time you read it, you find something new regarding a character. Once you have read the script, you break down the number of characters in the story,
Right.
where those characters belong from, what do they do, why are they the way they are. There's a lot of
Right.
backstory that you create in your head,
Backstories
because
need.
backstories you need to create in your head, because not everything is in the script. 99% everything is in the script, but 1%, where did this person come from and why is he like this?
Mm.
Sometimes you just have to jam it up with the director and be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, does that work for you? So okay, it works, okay, it doesn't work, then
And
you
this is
break down.
before even an actor is cast. So you don't really have a
Yeah,
person who looks a certain
yeah,
way in your
yeah,
head.
yeah.
So
A lot
you're
of
actually
time,
designing just for the character. It could
just
be
for the
played by
character,
anybody.
anybody. A lot of time,
Mm.
also what happens is, when an actor is cast, you feel like, oh, this is what I have thought before, but I would like to tweak it a little bit. I would like to make it a little different, now that
Mm.
I have a face to it. I don't think so this works anymore. I would like to tweak it. So you again take it up to the director and
I
be
mean,
like,
that
hey,
style or that outfit may not
correct
work
style,
for.
exactly, like, you sometimes just feel like, okay, this color doesn't work for this actor, or
Mm.
mostly it's the colors, but very rare it's the silhouette or the fabric. um, Once you have read the script, written down your number of characters, you break it down further into what scenes do we see them in, which means
Mm.
they might be seen in a very sad scene, or they might be seen in a very where they are having a party, or if they are at
Or
work.
a
So you break,
transition.
or a transition, you
Yeah.
break it down. A lot of what a actor or character will wear depends upon what state he belongs to, what age he is, what work
Mm.
he does. There are too many factors, at least
And the scene
when
itself, right? Like you said, the
totally, like,
technicality of the scene itself. Is it a wide shot? Is it a close up?
correct. Mostly, what happens is, if it's a wide or a close up, is something, a call that's taken much later. But what we try and do, or rather, I try and do, is to create a wardrobe for that character, and
Mm.
keep doing a lot of mix match, and so that everything looks in sync. It's not like in one scene he's wearing something else which is not his character at all, and another one, oh, let's bring back the Bengali in him. It's a very small example from Jubilee, where Vinod Das, in first episode, is Vinod is eventually a clerk working for Roy Babu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so he's wearing a shirt and a trouser. Now, how do I make it look like for 40s and 50s? It's a high waist trouser and two
Flares and
flap pocket
a lot of
in the front.
khakis. Yeah.
And how do I make him look he's Bengali? By giving him a Bengali cut kurta with a dhoti at home. So you're
Mm.
establishing a character just by giving him something. Even before he starts acting or talking, you have already given a hint that, okay, maybe he's a very bholu bacha, or he's very snobbish, or
Just a
you know
Bengali moshai. Yeah.
just a Bengali boy. He's
Mm.
just that much. So I feel like
But he evolves. As he makes money, you see some finesse in his clothes. The mehenga clothes,
the
sort
manga
of.
clothes, and the
His
manga
wife's
clothes,
earrings go
yeah,
turn into
yeah,
bigger gold
yeah,
things, and
yeah,
the roses, fresh roses come. So But these are very, I mean, we're nitpickers when we look at it also as audiences, but they do stick out. Oh, acha, paisa aa gaya. You know,
Yeah.
look
That's
changes.
yes, that
But
was
not
the
at par
aim.
with the Sid, not at par with the
Not
Roy. You know,
not at all.
it's still
Not at all.
ambitious and, you know, aspirational.
Aspirational. It's pretty aspirational, but he like
So is that
I
something
don't
you have to do or improvise as you go along?
do. So this is how that's how we create a graph for a character. We say, okay, before Vinod Das, before he turns into Madan Kumar. Then the second phase would be Madan Kumar, but not yet successful. So that's
Uh-huh.
where he's trying hard. You know, he gets a makeover where a tailor gives him like a sunglasses and makes him wear a blazer. Then the third
Mm.
stage is okay, now he's successful. So add more like color coordinated blazer and trousers. Then he goes to a
And the quality
vacation.
itself, the textures and the
Correct.
quality
Give
of
him,
the fabric.
and the one of the ways that we made sure that he's different from Roy is giving him more checks, more textured than and in comparison to Roy. Roy is wearing
He's younger
completely
also, no? So he's a
correct,
younger
more
character.
experimental, more
Mm.
can experiment more and is flamboyant. It's just like now it's gotten into his head. So we divided each character into different stages of their lives from episode 1 to episode 10.
Yeah. You see them growing and you see their wardrobe, you know, the new money where there is new
The new
money
money, correct.
and the Khandani old money of the Roys, which is, you know, it's very expensive, but it's so subtle.
It's so subtle. I mean, I think it's very, for me, I always make sure that, see, there is a very thin line between making something caricaturish and still
Yeah.
sticking to the reality.
Mm.
For me, that was one difficult part for on Jubilee, where I was like, okay, I need to show the money, I need to show the glam, but I cannot, like, it's a very thin line. I have to be very conscious that this doesn't end up looking like out of place, out of the world, too dressy. No, the story is not
Like
about
in
my
the refugee
clothes.
camp, he can't
Yeah,
be
you
the
can't be.
cleanest or the
Yeah,
freshest,
yeah. Like
most
you
clothes.
had to. We had stopped ironing clothes for those 10 days. We had
That's why.
stopped ironing clothes and washing clothes, sorry. But
Yeah.
that's the only way you could age it furthermore if by the day, as the days went by.
So how many characters in total? Because I see even the crowd scenes, you know, even they have a very distinct look. I mean, you know,
Correct.
he's walking, his role is just walking from point A to point B.
Yeah,
But
all of
even
them
they
as
have
well.
a whole look.
Yeah,
So how many characters in numbers? Like hundreds.
more than 100. I had 7 primary. I had some
That would be the lead,
the
the
lead.
leads.
I had some 30 to 35 secondary and some 183 featured, and then zillions of juniors. Like on an average, every day, if you're shooting an exterior scene, we would have about 80 people to dress, top to bottom, uh, with chashma, with a watch, with change of shoes, with the belt,
Hmm.
everything, like
Who's keeping
absolutely top
track
to
of this?
bottom.
How big is your forge?
My forge was about 8 people. I was
Only
blessed only.
give them a raise, take them out for a drink.
They all have had amazing time as well. 8 just the assistants, and then of course we have the dress team who help you iron, who help you keep the trunks organized, who help you.
Yeah.
There is a tailor on set, so those would keep increasing or decreasing.
Also very important. They're a very important
Very,
part of the
very,
whole system.
very. Like I think I always say that I am because of them. If we get a day in the morning, if we get to dress 80 people in 1.5 hours, it's all of us together getting that thing right.
Yeah.
Because it can go horribly wrong. Like I was
Yeah.
damn scared. Like I was like, okay, I'm trying to do this. Uh, Especially with period drama, you can either go extremely right or extremely
Or
wrong. Like there is
but
no
that's
midway.
where the challenge is, you know, because a
Yeah.
lot of I wanted to always ask, and I do ask, in a period film as well, the heroine wants to look beauteous and with some liner or fake lashes, and it sticks out when you see it on the large screen or now on OTT. How do you balance that need of actors to look good?
See, I think it was tough. I'm not denying it, but I we had fabulous bunch of actors who were aware what we were making and why we needed things a certain way, and they all ended up adhering to it. It was never like
मैं कैसा लग
extra
रहा हूँ?
anything. It was not that. Honestly, it was not that. It was just about, okay, I'm feeling like this person who I'm supposed to play. Great. Like even for me, for Aditi, I had to make her look beautiful. That was my entire aim plan from the day one, that I want her to look so amazing that people should be like, oh my God, we won that sari.
It
Or
was
oh my God,
ethereal, yeah,
yeah,
very.
we want it. And every time she walked to set, it was that in every costume of her, some crew member would come to me and be like, can we please get this one? I'm
I
like,
was gonna ask,
guys,
who gets to keep them? Who gets them? Who gets the
Amazon
first hit?
gets them. Amazon gets them. Amazon gets them.
They get remarketed.
Yes.
But do you ever get like actors asking, "Can I please?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
beautiful."
multiple times.
And
Like
it can
so
only
many
happen
times.
after the shoot, thanks to continuity.
Yeah, of course. Like, I would just like use it as an excuse and be like, sorry guys, I have to keep it till the, and it's not an excuse, it's the actual reason as well. But you can't like get into process of selling everything that you made for a show
Well, I'm
because
sure they're
you're
not saying
accountable for
selling.
it.
They're just saying, "Give it to me." I'm sure they're not paying for it.
Yeah, but accountability, like
Yeah.
I would be held responsible. So I'm just like, I know you really love it, maybe I can make this for you outside, but I can't give
Oh
you
yeah.
this right now.
Or as memorabilia, maybe the younger cast
Yeah,
members who are debuting,
yeah.
or the supporting cast members. It's a nice memorabilia too,
Like
but a tough job for you.
I remember before we went into the first lockdown, we were doing trials with Siddhant Jai Khanna,
Hmm.
and he was like, and I asked him, "Do you want to get used to these high-waisted trousers? Because
Um,
I need them on your waist all the time. Like it cannot be on your
Above
long
your
waist."
stomach. It's not in a documentation as well, no? Because women's costumes over the period of cinema have a lot of documentation, I believe. Not so much, costumes and even hair and how they look.
Everything.
Not so much as
Yes,
men. Because the men were aping,
not so much.
the Western looks. But the women had a very distinctive Indian
Correct.
look in our period films
Lot
as
of
well.
lot of women back then had something called kiss curls, which were like,
Uh,
the baby hair would just come out and would just curl
what
in
is happening
different
now,
ways.
they call lay down the edges when you
Yes,
have braids.
yes. So
Yeah,
it's all the fashion that's coming back, but
yeah,
like they had little thinner eyebrows. They didn't
yeah,
have much of. They had red lipstick. Red would be their go-to colors for
correct.
lips. Also because a lot of black and white used to happen. So the only way
It
you
would
can
stand
contrast
out.
the skin
Yeah,
color with
yeah,
your lip color is if it's a darker color. So these
correct.
small details, day by day, every day that we were prepping or we were trying to put things together, is when we discovered and we were like, okay, these small details are definitely going in the series. I'm not
It's
going
more
to be like,
difficult
no,
for the
this.
male characters, right? Because there isn't enough documentation. They were all resting Western in that sense.
Yes, but then what I also did, I went to Hollywood actors. Like I saw the photos of, because very strangely, Hollywood has great documentation of
Yeah,
male actors and female actors. And considering where Roy comes from, it was justified. Like I was like, okay, Roy has honestly moved around the country.
yeah.
He has seen a lot of things, moved around the world, and we can do it. He can be
Hmm.
wearing something like this. So
Hmm.
yeah,
And old
the
money
other people
legacy.
I
He
stuck
was the
to,
one.
yeah, he was the one.
But the other
So I
people,
could I could do,
the refugee
like for me,
camp, the other
for
actors.
oh, refugee camp and stuff, because refugee camp, we there are films that have shown refugee camp, but again,
Yeah, of
being a
course.
costume stylist and costume designer, I didn't want to be like, oh, because they have done this, I want to do this because I can rely on that information. So if you see, our refugee camp looks slightly more colorful than the other refugee camps
It
that you
does.
must have
It
seen
does.
earlier, but that
Yeah.
was a
I thought that
choice,
was a
because
deliberate.
why are we trying.
So
Yeah,
you're
it was
not
a choice. I had
replicating a
I had
Thomas,
set.
or you're not replicating a Pinjar, or you're not
Yeah,
going for the
I
same
don't
look,
I
or
didn't
even a bunyad.
I correct. I didn't. Yeah, I just felt like eventually these people are coming from their own houses. They didn't know that all of them are going to be together, and they need to be in a certain color palette. They can wear what they want as long as we are not
Different.
going to blues, because our DOP was little particular about no blues, which is great. And we're not
Why?
going to any bright. in your face colors, because I think in his grading he wanted to avoid blues as much as possible
Okay.
in
Yeah, that
DI.
sepia tone
So
grading has to be
correct, the golden
maintained.
tone grading that has come, yeah,
Yeah.
that has to be maintained. So I still do have blues, but they are very small, somewhere of extremely dark blues.
Hmm.
It was just like I wanted all of them to look as natural as possible. Like any project of mine, I have been very conscious about that my characters look like characters and not like out of the film, dress as somebody else, or non-logical, or don't have a backstory. They need to be real. People need to be able to relate to them.
Not,
And
yeah.
everything, there is a lot of technicalities that go into
Who
it.
was the most difficult character to dress in this, or took more
Oh,
work? I mean, they all take work, but
I would say Jai Khanna.
really,
Really, really. Moreover,
why?
because see, I had to create my own backstory for him and be like,
Mm.
okay, he does this, he does that, because we never see him at the theater. We never see him doing a drama. We never see him doing other things, you know. It's
He's
just
just
that
hunting everybody.
it's just like just through the words that he says that, oh, you know, my father owns a Khanna theater. But
Mm.
how rich? You know, you don't know how rich, because eventually they also
Yeah.
come to Bombay. And then it was maybe more difficult because Vikram sir was so particular about his character. Like we had to make sure that during his refugee time, till the time he doesn't direct Taxi Driver, he has only three shirts and one good shirt. Like, and I was just like, whoa, what if you change the flow of the scenes? He's like, don't worry, you know, I want him to look like Garib. How do you make
Mm.
a good looking man look Garib? That was difficult. But yeah, three shirts. There is only one good shirt, which is a green checkered shirt that he wears every time he goes to ask for work. Uh,
Mm.
then after Taxi Driver, we assume that okay, Valia must have given him some money and said that go buy some nice shirts, you know, couple of shirts. So you see
Decent clothes.
their
Yeah.
their transition. So we never used any of the previous
And
shirts, but
those
we used
shoes,
those
those
shoes,
patawa
correct?
shoes, which
Yeah,
get repaired for free. That was
repaired for
such a statement, you know. That
yes,
was quite
totally,
quite amazing.
totally. It's and hence
So
his
this
character
period
is
is
more
a
difficult.
parallel challenge. Yeah, it's also the world of cinema, which is the story, but it's also the world of freshly partitioned India, and
Correct,
specifically Karachi and Bombay, you know.
correct. Yeah,
So that's also, I think, a challenge in
it is.
itself.
It is. It absolutely is. Like my research, uh, and I say maybe when you say challenge, it was a challenge that I had grown out of during the prep. So I had my research right there, and hence it never felt like challenge. It was always like researching about India in 1940s. You research about world in 1940s. You research about Mumbai in 1940s, Bombay,
Yeah,
sorry, back then.
yeah,
You research about Gayatri Devi so that you have
that
a
reference.
role model for Sumitra.
Yeah,
And then you pick up their stories. You pick up all the stories from the real people, so that your facts and your backstories are real. You know, you're not just like picking anything. It's not like based on some notion that you have, but it's based on facts. Like for basic example, Gayatri Devi's mother used to shop silk and chiffons from Paris.
Paris.
So
Yeah,
why not? Like, so why not? You
that's
know, why
both
can't
history
Sumitra?
and yeah,
So why can't
cinematic
Sumitra
history.
wear, yeah, why can't
Yeah.
Sumitra wear like a silk and a nice chiffon sari? She can. She has
Mm.
that reach. She's going to utilize that. So
Mm.
as you said, yes, there is a parallel world of cinema, and then there is a parallel world of the country back then. Cinema, I whatever we shot of in film, I wanted it to look slightly more over the top, or like, you
Mm.
know, slightly like 10% uh, over the top, you know,
Fascia?
flashy, nothing flashier, but maybe little over the top, little done too much. Like that Sangharsh scene where Binod is wearing that coat and, you know, the muffler inside. I was like, I want to, the way to differentiate is the simplicity and the grace, in comparison to making things over the top, little broader than before, broader than what they would wear in general in 1940s. Use a color
And in
that,
Bombay, where it's
and in
not
Bombay,
cold.
correct. And you use a color which is little extra. You use a hat which is slightly more dramatic. Dramatic is the right word. Yeah. I wanted it to make more dramatic in
More
comparison to their
flamboyant, I
actual.
thought, because, and also reflects for a lot of them where they come from, the sister city of Karachi. Because Bombay post-partition was very different from, say,
Yeah,
Punjab
yeah,
post-partition or Delhi post-partition. They
totally.
each had
Bombay,
very different characters.
like Bombay, even during partition, there were so many layers to Bombay itself. There was working class, then you had the rich people, then you had the Parsis, you had the Maharashtrians, you had the Gujaratis, you had the Koli people. So in my juniors as well, or at the parties, I was very persistent that I need to people need to identify each one of them. Like people need to identify, I need to dress someone like a Parsi rich woman. There has to be a Parsi uncle. There has to be like a little silk Maharashtrian woman somewhere standing. There has to be more like, chiffon sari, so some rich
So
people
fill the
happening.
characters in the spaces.
Even in the background, And I always feel like background is so much more important. Everybody dresses the primary and lead nicely. It's
Yeah, of
about,
course.
it's about that last person you will see in the depth. What about him?
What
But
if
you still
someone pays
see him.
attention to that one?
Totally. So
is he wearing an Apple Watch in
yeah.
1948? How
Yeah.
do you stay sane after everything is packed up, or don't look at clothes for 6 months?
How does it feel?
Start baking banana bread. No kapra, nothing to do with clothes, designing.
Not really.
How
I
do you
think I
switch
love.
off?
I did switch off for like 4 months, where I was just like doing. It was such a long project that all I needed to switch off from was a long format. It went on for a very long time, so I switched off in that way. I went to a wellness center for 6 days because I was like, I need that alone. Definitely need that.
Silence. Yeah.
Silence. I was so happy there was no network on my phone. I'm like, nobody can reach me. I can't reach anybody. There is no Instagram. Nothing is happening. And moreover, I think you come back to it eventually, even after 4 months, and you're like, I can't believe I finished that thing.
Yeah.
It's that huge. It's so difficult and so much of hard work that you go back and you're like, did I really do this?
But you had this great body of work. Did you ever have to explain to people you're not a darzi, which is nothing wrong in being a darzi, but also that you're not a fashion designer in that sense? Shadi ke kapde bana do beta. Have you had to?
No, until this time,
Let's
because
call cousin Shruti to design her entire wedding collection.
no, I think I can't. I genuinely cannot. But this
But
happened to
you're
me.
a trained fashion designer.
Yeah, I'm a trained fashion designer. I have studied from SMDT Juhu in fashion designing. Uh, it only started happening now because I have kept my profile open after years of being on Instagram, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm just gonna dread it. And so sweet of random people coming and texting me saying that, hey, loved your work in Jubilee, just wanted to check, do you only do commercial work, or can you also make clothes for us?
Already? Wow.
And I was just like, I can, but it all lot depends upon what work I have taken at that point. And how do you say no? You can't say no. They're so sweet, So sometime in next near future, I will address those messages and try and help them out.
You're going to do bridal couture.
Yeah.
If directors can design, a designer can design.
Oh, but I designed, obviously, I design clothes for Vikram sir. I've designed clothes for Prateek, a few of the crew members for the premiere, like Vikram
That's
sir's
like designing for
suits.
friends, right?
Yeah, like, but then it's still a thing, it's not as simple as it is. So yeah, it's great
Like you
fun.
said, it does take effort. It takes
It
as much
does.
work. It does.
Of course, yeah. It's the process
Do you
again.
see
The
the
process
reverse
is same.
happening? You working on a film as a filmmaker? Do you see that happening anytime?
Oh wow. I have always wanted to be associated with a project more than what I am right now. Um, Definitely, like I can chew or I chew Vikram sir's head at times where I'm just like, I have a question. He's like, why do you have a question? And I'm just like, but I do have a question. I
In
need
the
an
middle of
answer to
work.
this. Yeah, I need an answer to this thing, why is this like this or whatever. So maybe not. We'll see how this goes, but
But 10 years
definitely
is a long time to sort of know if you think you're up to. That's also a challenge.
I know, but I just feel like after 10 years and right now, with everything that's happening and all the praises and more work that's going to come around, if I really have to switch, I would want to give my time to it. I would really want to dedicate myself to it completely. And
For
right
your
now
own
doesn't,
project. I hear your own project. I don't hear you're doing it for someone else.
yeah. I mean, even if I have to do it for someone else to try it around or just to see if it works out or it doesn't work out, I want to be honest to it. I just don't want to do it because oh मुझे कुछ और करना है नहीं, because I want
Hmm.
to be able to give it my 100% and be like okay, I can do this, I can do it. If I can't do it, never mind, but at least
Maybe a
I
story of a legendary Bollywood film costume
yeah, maybe
director.
yeah,
These are
maybe
stories we don't hear, we don't see.
yeah, maybe, but
Actors and actresses get biographies, and where do technical directors like you?
we uh we're there. It's a slow process with production design and costume. Still, production design, I think because a lot of people just know that art is so important and art is
Yeah,
visible so much. They still get their due credit, but with art departments specifically when they talk about visuals and they don't say anything about clothes, I think
but that's
I do
changing.
feel that's changing a bit now, a little
Hmm.
bit, a day by day or a project by project. I still feel like okay, there are people who see it that way, but there are still people who don't see that visuals as much as it's director of photography, it's production designer, it's also hair and makeup
Music.
and
Yeah.
costume. Yeah, it's everything coming together to make a series or a project that is successful. And all of this under, of course, director's vision. It's never taking away from that.
But thank you so much for making this was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so
And
much for
I thought you'll evade some questions like what is the worst film you've ever done? So yeah, clearly I didn't ask that.
I
Do
would
you
say
regret?
it was my first film, not which was not Masaan. It was not the worst film, but it was because when you do a job for the first time and you don't know anything about it, that's the most scariest feeling. So I won't
Yeah,
call
of
it the
course.
worst film. I would just call it like a new experience that I I I I pushed myself in,
So
because
from
I
being
did a
designer to a costume director was a
yeah, and I did my first
what
film
film was that?
this was this film called Traffic, which was a remake of a Malayalam film by the same name. It's not Traffic Signal, but it's Traffic, which was produced by Endemol. Amazing
Oh,
story, okay? Really good story. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, I could have given so much more to it, but I was
right.
so overwhelmed by the process at that point of time, uh, being the first,
So
being
learning on
head
the
of
job
department,
was
always
yeah.
being a head of department for the first time, it's a lot. Like I wish I could now go back to it and do it in a different way. But yeah, not a worse film, but tough
And the most
experience.
joyous, the one film that gave you great joy.
Ooh, I think it would be most of my films with Vikram sir because they are so much fun. They are so challenging in general, and he's such a amazing person to work with because as a technician or as a creative person, he lets you be. He if there is any call that needs to be taken regarding your department, he would be like, okay, I'm not going to take that call alone. I need
Mhm.
her to come in and we can have a discussion about it. So his set is like a home. Like you know that this is going to go right. If
Typical.
some
Everybody has a
uh,
favorite relative.
I have, I would say Jubilee only. Yeah,
Yeah.
the kind of experience it was. I don't think so. I've had that kind of
Also the
experience
largest
ever.
scale, right? This was
Totally larger scale, scope. Everything was so heartwarming because every time I would see an actor walk on set in that period setting with hair and makeup done, and I'm just like, this is amazing. I love it.
very
So
maternal
yeah,
feelings towards your clothes.
very, and I own it. I'm like, मेरे कपड़े, but ठीक
हाँ,
है.
the Mubarak ho, wardrobe hua hai.
हाँ, wardrobe हुआ है, totally. मतलब I have walked up to people and be like, कितनी सुंदर लग रहे हैं ना, and they're looking at me like they're in middle of shoot and everything, and they're like, really, I know
Hold your
they're looking
emotions,
good,
girl.
but yeah, like we have things to be done here. I'm like, okay, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. So yeah, I think Jubilee would be my answer.
No, but thank you for this. Is amazing. And I look forward to your own film or maybe a book,
Hopefully.
at least more Instagram posts.
I will try. That's
Promise to your fans.
I will try. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me and giving me this opportunity to discuss and tell you my side of
Thanks for
the
making
story.
time, and all the best, and may Jubilee go to many Jubilees, and really
Thank
look
you.
forward to your next project.
Thank you so much. Thank you.